Well, I'm back. Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And it's been a while. It's been a whole week. I was gonna be going on vacation, and I actually did take a vacation from doing YouTube stuff. I was still reading some comments, but I was really trying to fight against my instinct to answer all the comments and look through everything and just keep abreast of everything, answering emails. I tried not to do any of it while I was gone, and I was somewhat successful. I've been trying to catch up now. Obviously, there was a lot to catch up with once I got back home, but we're back now. Regularly scheduled programming will resume on Stuff and Things. Stuff and Things Plays was continuing to post normally. I just had so many videos there that I could post. And then working, we took a week off as well. That's gonna be resuming. We're back. It's time for our Pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this Pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have many things and stuff to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. I'm going to talk about our trip a little bit. We went to North Carolina, and it was really interesting. I want to mention an interesting, I think I'll be using that word quite a bit. I want to mention a fascinating thing that I saw in a film recently when someone was using a pipe, a famous actor, and then we will have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. Let's get into it. All right, gang, so like I mentioned, we took a week off on Stuff and Things and on working. I now have 3 channels in case you haven't been keeping up to date on everything. Stuff and Things Plays was business as usual, but we now have, and no, I don't have the Tim with me right now, but the Captain Earle's 10 Russians full review will be posting this Wednesday on Stuff and Things. The week before last, the first impressions video was out, then we took a week off. Now the Captain Earle's 10 Russians full review, this Wednesday on Stuff and Things. The next video that you can expect on Stuff and Things, many people have been asking me for a gerbil update. I got those furry little weirdos. They live in an enclosure in our living room, and some people wanted to know how they've been doing. So we will have an update in which I destroy their home, and you can see them huddling in fear and terror, waiting for whatever fate has in store for them. You'll see that in the video the next Wednesday. Got some cool new blends. Oh, that's another thing that I should have as an actual topic. Blends for discussion. That will be coming up on Stuff and Things. So stay tuned. There will be some other blends that we'll be talking about on Stuff and Things. On working, I need to remember to put stuff down for working now because it's a new channel. We have a Q&A episode. Since the week that we left midweek, and I didn't have any good opportunity to record a working episode. We were gone for a little over a week. And so the next week I didn't have a good chance to record something where we're actually doing something. But there have been so many questions from people leaving comments on the YouTube videos on episode 1 through 4, just asking about concrete construction, the processes, the things that we're doing in the videos. So I took an opportunity yesterday to record a video in which I am just answering all of those questions, or all of the ones that I thought were worth answering. So basically, the next working episode will still be out this Monday at 6 a.m. Pacific, but it will be me answering questions that people have asked on the working videos about construction, concrete, all that good stuff. Then, on Stuff and Things Plays, the Minecraft series is continuing for, I think, 2 more weeks, along with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So Tears of the Kingdom is every Monday and Friday, and Minecraft is every Wednesday and Saturday for the next couple weeks, and then we'll be switching to just Tears of the Kingdom, and that will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I think that's everything. Lots to look forward to. All right, gang, and so I guess before the topic of the show, which is going to be about our trip to North Carolina, I do have some blends that I thought you would enjoy me checking out. I did get a tin of Dunhill Flake just because it's been a very long time since I've had Dunhill Flake. I'm pretty positive that I've already done a revisited episode on flake, or this is not Dunhill flake, it's Peterson flake. So I probably won't be doing an episode on this, but I just wanted you to see I got some Peterson flake, and I'm actually really looking forward to trying this. It seems like a really good summer blend, just a nice straight Virginia flake. To me, this is kind of the quintessential straight Virginia, along with maybe Gawith full Virginia flake, but this one is a lot more grassy, a lot lighter and sharper maybe. Very, very good Virginia flake. I also got some McFadin HH Bold Kentucky. This might be a good candidate for a revisited episode. We've been talking about bold blends, strong blends, and this is definitely one of the stronger blends out there, and I thought it might be fun to take a look at this again. So you can look forward to something having to do with Bold Kentucky coming up. And then I did it. Many people were asking when I reviewed Captain Black Cherry, they said that I should take a look at this. Cult Blood Red Moon as a good cherry aromatic. A lot of other people said, no, it's not a good cherry aromatic, but I think the majority of people said that it was. So I will be checking out Cult Blood Red Moon in the future. Fun stuff. So Diamond and I just got back from a trip to North Carolina. Her family lives in North Carolina. I don't know, should I mention the exact town? It's a very, very small town, and it's kind of in the far left corner or the far western corner of North Carolina. So it's right jammed up against Tennessee and Georgia. And it was really fascinating going there. I have never been to the South. I've been to the Southwest. I've been to Texas. I used to live in Oklahoma when I was a little kid, and we were there recently too. But I've never been to the South. And I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. I knew that we were going to be in the Smoky Mountains. I also knew that mountains on the East Coast are not the same as mountains here on the West Coast. You can look at the Rocky Mountains or the Cascades, which are the mountains that are close to me, and they are very tall. They're very rugged and sharp. They're all snow-capped, and to me, that's what mountains are, you know, over 10,000 feet. Those are mountains. The mountains there, where we were, are what I would call just foothills, but we were in an area that was just completely surrounded by these foothills, these rolling hills that are technically mountains, I guess, completely forested. I was shocked by just how everything was covered in vegetation, because I'm kind of used to that here in the Pacific Northwest. Everything is green. Here it's green all year round because we have so many fir trees and pine trees. There it's all deciduous trees, but it was so verdant and so green, maybe kind of like a couple shades lighter green than it is here. We have a really deep, dark forest green, and it was just all these rolling hills. So wherever you were, you felt kind of hemmed in. You couldn't see anything around you. All you would see is just these hills surrounding you covered in a forest. And so that was interesting. That was kind of strange to get used to. It was very humid. It's so weird because if you look at the weather app, or if you look at the weather when you're in the Pacific Northwest, often the humidity will be like 75%, 80%, and it's like, oh, it's humid, it feels really hot. And it could get up to, you know, 80, 90 degrees in the summer, and it feels hot. But we went to North Carolina, and the temperature was around 90, 92 some of the days. The humidity was around 75, 80%, and it feels very different than it does here. It's air that it feels like you are having a meal as you are breathing. It feels like there's a weight pressing down on you as you're walking around. You go outside and you just start to sweat immediately. Like, it was very, very humid. Not every day, but there were a lot of thunderstorms that were just rolling in. It would be sunny and hot 1 second, and then within 5 minutes, suddenly a huge system would be coming in. Winds would pick up like crazy. We lost power we were staying at a really cool place right in downtown of the little town that we were in. And this little town is like less than 1,000 people, I think, as far as the population. But it was this cool little like converted loft, and it was really neat. But we lost power because some of the storms rushing through and just torrential rain. And of course that contributes to the humidity because it rains like crazy, soaks everything. Then the sun comes out again, bakes the ground, vaporizes the air. It's all in the atmosphere. Like, just totally different kind of climate and feel to the Pacific Northwest. And obviously I knew that was going to be the case, but I just didn't know what it was actually going to be like to experience that. But it was really beautiful. We took some cool drives. We saw some really interesting areas. There's a place called Nantahala, like a river gorge that people go whitewater rafting and kayaking through. We were near the town where Nell was filmed. I don't know if any of you remember Nell, but it's a movie from the 90s, I think, with Jodie Foster, where she was kind of a hill person who had been left with someone who couldn't speak. I don't remember the plot very well because I haven't seen it in years, but basically it was very rural and very kind of like hill people. I don't know what you would say, hillbillies, I guess. And the town that was filmed in is Robbinsville, and that was near where we were. So you did see a lot of, I didn't see a lot of poverty necessarily. Most people seemed to be doing just fine, but there were a lot more abandoned buildings and things that were just kind of overgrown. You don't see that very much around here. I guess real estate is just so expensive here, and people will use whatever land they can. And even in the more rural parts of the county where Bellingham is, you don't see a lot of like really dilapidated buildings, but you saw a lot of that in North Carolina. And there's also the kudzu vine, which is an invasive vine from Japan, I believe, that just covers everything. So if someone leaves a car out in their yard for a few months, it will just be covered in kudzu vine. It looks kind of like ivy, like English ivy, but it just covers everything. There'll be entire trees that are just completely covered in it, and then it goes up the power lines and on billboards, just everywhere. Apparently it dies out in the winter, but then it comes back again in the spring. I don't know, just really interesting. The people were all pretty nice. I was trying to find some interesting accents. I wanted to hear the really heavy Southern accents, and most people, it was just kind of a lighter, lilting accent, but Diamond's dad did bring me to a bait store so I could hear some real local authentic accents, and they were kind of that higher register Southern accent, like, yeah, there you go, like that up there register. That was fun. And I don't know, it was just cool. We went to this place that's like a folk school where they have teachers come in and they have all sorts of different courses on pottery and blacksmithing and all sorts of cool things, and music, so bluegrass music. I don't know, it was just really interesting, very different. I know a lot of people in Europe you may realize how large the US is, but you might not realize how different things can be in different states. From everything from different laws to just completely different ways of life. And obviously there are some commonalities. You'll see some of the same fast food places and things like that, and some of the same stores, but just a really different way of life. It felt like a very, very unique, and I wouldn't say like diametrically opposed to the kind of lifestyle you have in the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, politically, it's probably way different, but it was cool. It almost felt like being in a different country. So North Carolina, in the western part of the state, was beautiful, and I would recommend it. Maybe not in the height of summer because it was very hot and very humid, but maybe in the fall. I'm sure it would be beautiful with all the leaves changing too. So yeah, really cool trip. We also spent a lot of time working on a short film project that Diamond had written. So I was wearing the audio engineer hat, the cameraman hat, trying to figure out all this stuff. And so it was a lot of work doing that as well, but we also had a bit of time to relax, and it was fun. Nice little break. So gang, I recently watched the new Wes Anderson film, Asteroid City. Came out a few weeks ago. I think we saw it on opening night, and I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. I don't know where I would rank this as far as the rest of his films. Probably not super close to the top, but it was still really good, really enjoyable, looked really good. But one of the things that I thought you guys might be interested in was the character that Jason Schwartzman played. He was Augie, can't remember his last name now. His name was Augie. He had a beard. He was a war photographer. This is supposed to take place in the 50s. And he was a pipe smoker. He had a pipe throughout pretty much the entire film, and you will see him loading it. You'll see him tamping it. He actually has a little check tool like pretty much all of us use, I think. And he has a Zippo pipe lighter. And it looked as though he was pretty well versed in how to use it. So either he is a pipe hobbyist himself, which I doubt, or they just did a lot of good research and he did a lot of good research himself in looking up how to actually use a pipe. So if you haven't seen Asteroid City and you're the kind of person who gets a kick out of seeing somebody with a pipe in a film, check it out. Jason Schwartzman, it's hard to say that name for some reason. Jason Schwartzman's character is using a pipe throughout pretty much the entire film. And it's just a good film too. Worth checking out. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Or if you are a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon. Go right to the front of the line. If you want to leave a super thanks under this video or any of my videos, you can also go right to the front of the line, or you can leave comments, questions, and feedback on all my YouTube videos. I try to read through every single one and pick out things to discuss on the subsequent Sunday Stuff and Things. Next, or first, from YouTube. Oh, okay, one thing I want to point out. YouTube has just randomly decided to change something, which they seem to want to do all the time for no good reason. Instead of having the name of the YouTube channel, so let's say you have a YouTube login and you have a name under your channel. Even if you've never posted any videos or anything, there will be a name. For me, it would be Stuff and Things is the name of my channel. But then your handle is different. It's an @. So for working is a good example. My channel is called Working. So previously, if I left a comment and it would say Working and my channel little logo on there. Now they're doing it so it's I guess the tag for the channel. So Working is @WorkingStuffandThings. So if I were to leave a comment now, it would say @WorkingStuffandThings. So they're doing this for you guys too. So all of you who I got to know really well from the name that was on your YouTube channel or your YouTube profile, now it is your tag. So there's some people I can tell like, oh, this is the same person. I recognize this tag or it's similar to your YouTube channel. But for a lot of people, I can't. It's completely different. And so it's really irritating. Anyway, just to let you know, in case I don't seem to realize that you're somebody who I've spoken to before, it's because YouTube decided to change that. So first off, we have a comment from @DavidStein5193. When you say this tea could use some drying out, how would you do that and how long would you dry it out? So that was on, I can't remember the exact blend, but it was a flake tea blend. And basically, David, if you were watching, or anyone else who might get some use out of this, with a flake blend, I will rub it out, usually rub it out really well. I will usually rub it out on a piece of paper like this, so I'll have a little mound of tea, enough that I think I will use in my pipe, and then I'll leave it for 15 to 30 minutes. It depends on the ambient temperature, the relative humidity, all of that good stuff. And after 15 minutes, just take a little feel of it. If it's still clumpy and seems really wet, let it dry some more and just wait until it gets to the proper moisture content for you. That's how I do it. Next, we have some feedback from not last week's, but the week before's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from @the_new_media_of_the_dawn. Not reaching the prerequisite number of hours or subscriptions to reach monetization is sort of understandable, but it's like a non-paid internship for starting out a company firm. So they're talking about how I mentioned that there were ads on my working videos, even though my channel doesn't qualify for monetization. So that means that YouTube is putting ads on there and I don't get anything for it. YouTube does, but whatever. However, demonetizing someone's channel for a violation of terms and conditions or controversial material and then still running ads and profiting off the channel is pure hypocrisy if this does in fact happen. And as far as I can tell, it does in fact happen on YouTube. There are channels that have been demonetized, but there are still ads and demonetized because of terms of use or user guidelines or ad-friendly policies. And there are still ads on those channels, and as far as I know, it's YouTube doing that and profiting off those channels. Seems pretty shady to me. Next, from @Mr. Mojor. See, this is really annoying because I think a lot of these usernames, are just kind of random collections of letters and numbers because people, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry that this is the case now, but this is how my comments show up now. It's really annoying. But at Mr. Mojor SN111, I am not an aromatic esser. That being said, there are a few that I've enjoyed in the past. Fire Dance Flake by Gawith. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Cult Blood Red Moon. And Devil's Holiday by Dan T are, in my opinion, the 3 best aromatics I've smoked. I would not hesitate to purchase one of these if and when the desire for something different happens to strike, which it has not for a while. So the Dan T one I have heard about. It's interesting that like the devil and the occult is associated with aromatics, at least coincidentally with those few blends. But yeah, I might have to check that out. Thank you, Mr. Mojor SN111. Next, from David Dixon 6408, I have tried HH Rustica. When you get about halfway through a bowl, your head will be swimming, very high in Nick. And yes, I have heard that as well. I would like to try to get my hands on some of that and do a review. I think it would be interesting. Next, we have some feedback from Captain Earle's 10 Russians First Impressions. This is from at Meandarin Oranges. That's a good name. I don't understand how a high Latakia content English blend with no burley, Dark Fire Kentucky presence could have a high Nick punch. It's just not in the cards, and I believe all the people who say Nightcap is strong in Nick haven't tried a heavy Dark Fired Kentucky blend. So some of the discourse around Captain Earle's 10 Russians was that I had been told by several people that it was really strong, it was going to knock me out, and my experience was that it was full flavored but not strong in Nick. It wasn't something that was going to make your head swim or make you feel nauseous. And this is what Meandering Oranges is saying as well. Just the components in Captain Earle's 10 Russians would not lead you to believe that it would be a strong blend. Something that has a lot of Perique could be very strong, and Dark Fired Kentucky for sure can add a lot of oomph to a blend. So I agree. Next, this is Paragon Piper. Yeah, I didn't find it very high in Nick. For Nick, it falls to the Gawith ropes. And yes, I still think that Gawith Brown number 4, is that the right one? I always confuse it with Special Brown. I'm conflating different blends, but they're Brown Rope. I think it's Brown number 4. I think is the strongest blend I have ever had as far as, oh, my head is swimming, my throat is closing up, I feel like I might be sick. And finally from at MJM or MJ Moody 2K, Captain Earle's blends are my favorites. They don't seem to get much notice, but I love the Latakia and the rich flavors. Diamond Head might edge out 10 Russians as my overall favorite. Great video. And yeah, I wrote down Diamond Head as one to watch, something that I'm probably going to check out in the future as well. Gang, thank you for the feedback and the questions and the comments. Please keep it coming. I'm back now, so I can answer more of these comments. I can keep abreast of everything that you guys have to say, so please keep those comments coming in. It really helps me do the show, actually, because I find good things to talk about. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where I thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon. If you would like to support the channels, there is a link in the description below, and it's just extremely helpful. It helps pay for all the equipment that I need to do these channels or to make these videos on these channels. It helps pay for things for review. It's just extremely appreciated, and I want to express my gratitude. And we do that every week by shouting out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Finn O'Hagan, Ryan McFadin, Arcturus, and Ashes of the Phoenix. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like Bob Magee. And we will never forget our good friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, we're back, and we have lots to look forward to on all the channels. First of all, this coming week, 10 Russians. Full review. Check that out on Stuff and Things. Then we're going to be getting into being a home wrecker for my gerbils the week after that. Some cool new blends that we'll be checking out, and an old blend that we might revisit. Lots of good stuff going on with Minecraft and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on Stuff and Things Plays. We'll have a new video on working this Monday. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later. We're back, baby.